Where do the Polish people really come from? It's a question that has echoed across Europe for centuries. Some say the Poles are the pure descendants of the early Slavs, proud, resilient, and unchanged for thousands of years. But what if that's only part of the story? What if beneath the soil of Poland lies a genetic code that tells a tale far older, a tale that reaches back to the very dawn of Europe itself? For generations, historians pieced together Poland's story from chronicles and ruins. But now, DNA is revealing something far more powerful, a record written not on parchment but in blood. And what scientists are uncovering is rewriting everything we thought we knew. So stay with me until the end, because we're about to travel back through time, through ice ages, migrations, and forgotten wars to uncover the shocking genetic origin of the Polish people. But before we begin, let me ask you this. Do you believe the Poles came purely from the Slavic tribes, or from a deeper, more ancient lineage that shaped all of Europe? Tell me in the comments, because your answer might surprise you. Our story begins more than 10,000 years ago, when the last great ice sheets retreated from the north. Across what is now Poland stretched endless tundra and forest. In those shadowed woods lived Europe's first people, the Western hunter-gatherers. They were small in number but fierce in spirit, survivors of an unforgiving world filled with mammoths, bears, and wolves. Their DNA reveals a striking image: people with dark hair, olive-toned skin, and bright blue eyes. A paradox of cold and warmth, strength and endurance. These were the true founders of Europe's heartland. Then, around 6000 BC, everything changed. New people began to appear, moving slowly north from the sunlit plains of Anatolia. They carried something revolutionary: the secret of farming. They brought wheat, barley, cattle, and goats, and with them a way of life Europe had never seen before. At first, the old hunters resisted these newcomers. To them, the farmers seemed fragile, tied to the soil, afraid of the wild. But as the seasons turned, curiosity replaced fear. The two worlds began to mix, trading tools, stories, and finally blood. Their children were something new, a bridge between the restless hunter and the settled farmer. The endurance of the wild fused with the patience of the plow. And in their bones, scientists now find traces of both: the ancient genes of Europe's first foragers and the southern blood of the early farmers who tamed the land. From this fusion, a new kind of people began to rise. More stable, more organized, but still carrying the wild heart of their ancestors. But peace in prehistory never lasted long. Around 3000 BC, the silence of Europe was shattered again. From the endless grasslands of the Pontic steppe, east of the Carpathians, came riders, warriors who had mastered both the horse and the art of metal. They traveled in wagons, carried bronze weapons, and buried their dead beneath great mounds. Archaeologists call them the Yamnaya, or the people of the steppe. They were tall, fierce, and restless, the first true nomads. Their migrations would forever reshape Europe's genetic and cultural map. As their descendants, known as the corded ware culture, reached the lands of today's Poland, everything changed once again. They brought not only new tools and burial customs, but new bloodlines. Their arrival caused one of the most dramatic population shifts in human history. Within just a few generations, most of the male genetic lines across Central and Northern Europe had been replaced, their Y DNA spreading like wildfire. And here's the shocking part. Modern Poles still carry that same steppe signature. Nearly half of all Polish men today bear the genetic marks of those horse-riding warriors from the East. They were not just conquerors, they were the bringers of language. The words they spoke would become the roots of most modern European tongues: Latin, Greek, Sanskrit, and yes, Polish. When scientists say steppe blood runs through Polish veins, they mean it literally. It's written in the DNA itself. As centuries passed, the corded ware people built villages across the forests and plains of Central Europe. They blended with the descendants of the first farmers and hunters, creating the ancestors of the Proto-Slavs, the earliest people whose culture and genes began to resemble what we'd one day call Polish. By 1500 BC,
These tribes had developed their own traditions. They built fortified hill settlements, worshipped rivers and the sun, and lived in rhythm with the seasons. Their lives were simple but deeply spiritual, tied to the earth, to family, and to the memory of ancestors. When later historians wrote about the Slavs, they weren't describing a single tribe, but a continuum, a living chain of related peoples stretching from the Carpathians to the Baltic Sea. And in the center of it all stood the lands of Poland, a crossroads between worlds. The people who lived here had no written language, but they had songs, myths, and rituals that bound them together. And when outsiders came, Germanic tribes from the west, Balts from the north, or nomads from the east, they didn't vanish. They adapted, they mixed, they survived. This is where the story of Polish DNA becomes extraordinary. It's a mosaic built through resilience. Centuries rolled on. Around the first millennium BC, Germanic tribes like the Goths and Vandals lived for a time on what is now Polish soil before migrating south. Their traces remain. Genetic markers such as haplogroups I1 and R1b still found among Poles today. Then, during the early Middle Ages, a new influence arrived from across the Baltic Sea, the Vikings. They came not just as raiders, but as traders and settlers. In places like Wollin, known in legend as Jomsborg, Polish and Norse lives intertwined. Archaeologists have unearthed coins, swords, and jewelry in both Slavic and Scandinavian styles, physical proof of a world where cultures met and merged. Modern genetic studies even detect faint Nordic traces in Poland's northern regions, small but unmistakable, a whisper from the age of the Vikings. These encounters forged a unique identity: Slavic heart, Nordic courage, and Germanic discipline, a blend that would define Poland's people for centuries to come. Then came one of the darkest chapters in Europe's history. In the 13th century, from the Far East, the Mongol storm rolled across Eurasia. Entire kingdoms fell as Genghis Khan's armies swept westward. In 1241, they reached Poland. Cities burned, Krakow, Sandomierz, and the Polish knights fought valiantly but faced an unstoppable enemy. And yet even that invasion left a faint genetic echo. Scientists have detected tiny traces, about 1 to 2%, of East Eurasian DNA in parts of eastern and southern Poland. It's a whisper of the steppe once more, linking the medieval Mongols to their distant cousins, the ancient Yamnaya, whose blood had already shaped the Polish genome thousands of years before. In a strange twist, history had come full circle. From then on, Poland stood at the center of Europe's great struggles between East and West, empire and rebellion. Germanic, Slavic, Nordic, and Eastern threads all wove together in one enduring tapestry. Every invasion, every migration, every alliance left a mark, not just in history books, but in the DNA of the people. That's why scientists call the Polish genome one of Europe's most complex. Within a single nation's DNA lies the story of an entire continent. The first farmers from Anatolia, the hunters of the Ice Age, the horsemen of the steppe, the Germanic wanderers, the Viking traders, and even the Mongol storm. Each left their imprint. Each helped forge the identity of a people who refused to disappear. So what does all this mean? It means that the Polish people are not the descendants of one tribe, but of many worlds colliding. Their blood carries the memory of every era: Ice Age resilience, Bronze Age power, Iron Age unity. Poland's DNA is living proof that identity is not about purity. It's about endurance, the strength to adapt, to survive, and to rise again. From prehistoric hunters to medieval knights, from Slavic tribes to modern citizens, every generation of Poles has carried the same unbroken thread: resilience. So the next time you hear someone speak of Polish roots, remember, those roots stretch across thousands of years and half a continent. From the wild forests of prehistoric Europe to the sunlit steppes of Asia, from Viking coasts to the heart of the Slavic world. Every Polish face tells a story written in genes, a story of survival, blending, and rebirth. Maybe that's the real secret behind Polish DNA. Not who they came from, but how they endured. If you've enjoyed this journey through the genetic history of Poland, let us know in the comments. Do you have Polish ancestry? Or have you ever taken a DNA test that revealed surprising roots? Share your story. You might find you're connected to this ancient mosaic more than you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden genetic origins of nations across the world. Until next time, do zobaczenia. Goodbye for now.